So you made some money selling options, and Uncle Sam, of course, wants his cut. Here's how to not screw this up. Yo, what is going on, Premium Chasers? I hope you're having a God blessed day today. Every single person that comments down below is going to get this full guide to taxes for option sellers. So make sure you drop a comment. I'll personally respond to you down there. And while you are down there, consider hitting that like button and that subscribe button. But guys, today, this is such a common question, guys. How do we handle taxes as traders or option sellers, right? It's all confusing and all this nonsense and blah, 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 blah. Well, as Jesus says, give Caesar what is Caesar's, but, we're going to do our best to give Caesar as little as we can. So in all seriousness, guys, we're going to go through this guide here, and I'm just going to straight up cut to the chase, guys. I'm going to give you guys my resource who I use to handle my taxes, my business, my LLC, all my filings, all that good stuff, and really help me with tax planning, estate planning, and all that good stuff, all right? However, with that said, I think it's still important for you guys to, know how to do, not do your own taxes, but essentially understand how taxes work with option sellers. But if you're somebody that's like, Pete, listen, I already got a big portfolio. Listen, I just want somebody to handle my taxes for me, help me set up my business so I can trade for my business, if that makes sense, yada, yada, yada. Just click the link in the description. I'll leave one down there to my personal guys that I've worked with for 5+ years, probably closer to 10 years from business formation, entity formation, tax planning, estate planning, and helping me save as much money as humanly possible on my taxes. So I will leave a link down below for these great people that I've worked with for a long time. But let's talk about taxes, guys, because unfortunately, taxes, no matter what you're doing, business, trading, literally just living, are unavoidable. And I know it sucks. It really, really sucks. Okay. So listen, why do taxes matter when you're, with option sellers? Well, what we have to understand is we are going to be taxed, on our premiums that we're collecting, on our appreciation sales that we're collecting, on our dividends that we're collecting, right? We're going to be taxed anywhere where we're making money, essentially. And the way I'm going to break this down is how taxes work for option sellers, when you might want to use an LLC. Me personally, that's what I like to do. I think this makes sense for a lot of people, but again, I am not a tax advisor. I don't know your situation. That's why I say work with professionals. Listen, I was actually doing a video for our mastermind group this morning. I go live every single morning, 30 minutes before the market opens. And one thing I think I'm really good at, and I think I've been good at this since a young age, and kind of subconsciously, and call it lazy if you must, is I do what I do best and I outsource the rest. That's a writer downer in my opinion, right? I do what I do best and I outsource the rest. What do you do best? Maybe you have a business, maybe you have a full-time job, right? Whatever it is that you're doing that you're good at, that you love. Me personally, I'm not good at taxes. I'm not good at learning the tax code. I'm not good at knowing exactly what kind of formation my business needs to be in so I'm taxed at the best possible rates. But I surround myself with extremely smart people who that's what they do best. Right? We'll get into that in a little bit more. What records you want to keep to yourself, and then tips to stay compliant while keeping as much of that juicy premium as you guys can. All right. So most of you are going to be starting with your personal account. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not, right? That's you're just trading with your personal account, right? Most of you probably watching just go to your Robinhood, you put your social security number in there, and then you're done. You're off to the races, right? Obviously, this is a lot simpler, but however, you are taxed on your short-term capital gains, right? That's ordinary income for most of your options trades that expire or are at closed within a year, right? There's really no additional entity costs that you have to do in here, okay? So, LLC or S-Corp structure is, in my opinion, the best route to go as you scale. Now, if you're messing around with like a $5,000 account or even like a $10,000 account, like you probably still want to talk. You do definitely want to speak to a tax advisor, a professional. Again, I'm not a professional, not financial advice. Listen to me, okay? Do not listen to me. But I think most of you, and especially that I work with, like high net worth individuals, you are much better off setting up an LLC or an S-Corp structure, depending on your situation, right? Now, it's not always necessary unless you have significant income. Again, I would say 100K minimum per year that you're bringing in, and a substantial amount that you're devoting to option selling. Remember, what do I say on this channel, guys? What do I say on this channel a lot? I say treat option selling like a business, right? And what's the point of a business, right? To turn a profit, to hire employees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can kind of do that with option selling if you focus in as a business, not as a trader, right? Like this is my mindset where because I come from the business world. I've been doing online businesses for like 15 plus years now. But like I've always come into perspective of everything. I treat it like a business, right? So like for me, I treat this just like a business, right? Here's our strategy, right? And I'm the CEO. What strategy are we executing? Now, most of this, everything I'm doing is executing myself. You're going to be executing your own trades, right? Nobody's going to be able to do that unless you decide to go with a financial advisor or something, which again, if you want to, that's on you. So what I like is doing the S-Corp election, right? Paying yourself a reasonable salary from your actual business, right? And taking distributions which aren't subject to change. Now, with this, you are also able to have business expenses, which is absolutely fantastic. You know, you trade on, what do you trade on, man? What are you trading on? Right? On a phone? Okay. This is a business expense, right? Are you trading on your laptop? Business. Don't you need internet to trade, right? There's a lot of these things that you are going to then be exposed to that could be used as business expenses in your business, right? And this is what I keep saying. You have to shift the mindset of this. It's a big mindset shift for you to make if you've always just done things on your personal self, right? But once you are structured and treat this as like another human, right? Like let's picture this iPhone is another human, right? And like it's like a whole separate business. It has its own social security number, EIN number, right? It's got its own bank accounts. It's got all its own thing. It's like I've replicated myself into this separate entity, this being, with the sole purpose of making money with options selling, and I treat it as a business, right? I do my best to, right? And what does a business have, right? As employees, as expenses, as all the other things that go along with it, right? Now you will need to run a clean set of books, and you're going to want an accountant. You're going to want tax advisors. And again, that's why I recommend if you can use whoever you want, right? I don't care. I'm just showing you the guys that I have an extremely good relationship with, that have never served me wrong. They're my accountants. They're my tax advisors. They, again, help me with everything A to Z, and they don't charge an arm and a leg. And I'll leave that link in the description of today's video. Worst thing you can do, or best case, is you could just have a meaningful conversation and get a bunch of great information from them that you can go give to your own accountants or tax advisors, right? They're great people over there, okay? And you guys already know here on this channel, I ain't pushing you the Moo links. I ain't pushing you a Robinhood links. I don't literally care. Like, I don't need your money, okay? I genuinely do not, okay? I've got my own things going on, okay? This is a passion of mine, okay, that I plan to share with my children one day. So think of this channel as my live log, okay? So let's kind of keep talking about this, right? So when should you consider setting up an entity, right? A specific business. You're making at least 6 figures or more, right? You want to write off business-related expenses, education, tools, home office, right? Like, a lot of people I work with that'll come into OSS, right? They have an entity. They have a business set up, and guess what? When they join OSS, that's a business expense, right? Maybe you buy a whole bunch of books, right, related to trading, business expense. You need a new laptop, right? Because whatever happened to yours, or you need whatever you need a new laptop for, right? In terms of business expense, right? Like your internet at home, business expense, your cell phone plan, business. Like there's so many expenses that you can now open up to, which is just amazing. I can't stress it enough. Okay. Now, obviously, this would, I just want to put this in. You're scaling options to a full-time or part-time. I don't look at selling options as a full-time thing. It will be a full-time thing for me when I'm older. But for me right now, listen, even like I'm not like I'm never gonna like retire like per se. Like I love work, like really getting in the weeds and like really working. That's a side note. So I don't necessarily, selling options is too passive for me. Like at the end of the day, you're only trading a few times a month. Like I wouldn't really consider, when I consider full time is like putting in like hours and hours every single day. But I did just want to toss that in there, especially for those of you that are aspirational that want to do that. So what taxes do you owe when selling options, right? Right. So let's talk about this, right? Most option selling income is considered short-term capital gains, right? Taxed at your ordinary income rate and whatever that is for you. So here's what happens, right? Cash secured puts or covered calls that expire worthless, right? Full premium is recognized as short-term gain, okay? If you're assigned, the premium reduces your cost basis of the shares you buy and sell. And if you closed early, right, the buy to close, the difference between open and closed premium is your gain loss. Sounds complicated. I know. This is why I say it's best to work with professionals that just do it for you. Cannot stress it enough, right? But this is important. Gains on options held less than a year, right, are short term, right? So almost every options trade that we do at least fits into this. It's unavoidable, guys. Listen, you could sit and complain about it. I get in arguments with the TikTok brain people. Like, oh, but you're getting taxed at short term capital gain. Dude, you're getting taxed regardless of just living, bro. Like you get a paycheck and then you have to go pay sales tax. You got to pay income tax. You got to pay, like it's unavoidable in life. Like what are you going to sit? Listen, you either play the game or just sit on the sidelines while everybody else does, right? So let's stop making excuses that we're going to be taxed or sitting around. It's unavoidable, right? Like again, your tax advisor will be able to help you. Your accountants are going to be able to help you if you hire good people. If you're going to H&R Block, bro, like you're going to be screwed, right? Like I'm just being honest. Like, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I'm sorry, H&R Block people, but it's true, dude. You don't want to be using H&R Block. Like maybe they have like one good person there. Man, that's a blanket say. I'm sorry, H&R Block. I'm sorry. But records you need to keep. Most of your advisors, whoever you're doing, is going to do this all for you already. So you could focus on what you do best and you just outsource the rest. But if you need to get scrappy and you're going to do your own taxes, power to you, man. Because like that sounds like a terrible place to be. I'm not going to say hell, but one of the layers for sure, right? So, but you want to keep your trade confirmations, your 1099B, that is from your broker. You're going to be given that. You probably already know if you've done your taxes, right? That's going to show your proceeds, gains, losses, logs of your opening and closing prices, premiums, expiration dates. That's why I always say have your tracker handy, absolutely key. Notes on assignment or early closures. Again, those of you inside OSS that you're watching this, you guys all have like my actual live log tracker to do all this stuff. So you got all that. And then of course, if you're using an LLC, bank statements, P&L reports, receipts for any business expenses, again, you'll have your own separate credit card, debit card that you can then, all that will just be used in whatever software your accountants use, like QuickBooks or something. So they'll be able to categorize all the expenses for you and all that good stuff. And then obviously any payroll records, mainly you're the only person going to be paid out of this. I like S-Corps personally. They've served me well in my life. So how to stay compliant and not overpay, right? Well, again, your advisor will be able to help you out this with the best, but use a tax or CPA who understands options. I've been saying this constantly. If you just go to H&R Block or some general firm that doesn't specialize with trading, business, estate planning, like reducing your tax liability, you are setting yourself up for failure. Because listen, guys, these ads that you see, hey, $50 to file taxes, you think they're going to give a crap about you? Like dude, in this world, you get what you pay for. I think we can all agree to that. Drop an amen. You get what you pay for, man. Like if you pay $50 for somebody to do your taxes, that's some college kid that just graduated, maybe college as a CPA, has never done this stuff before, has no idea what options are. And the reason I like you using PCS, the guys I recommend, is they are experts with traders. like it's simple. They know the strategies already. Why would I go out there and try to learn the decades upon decades of, I don't even know how many decades of experience they have. Why would I go try and learn that? Dude, it's impossible for me. It would be truly actually impossible for me to learn that, right? Can't stress it enough. Track every single trade, everything that you can. Just do it on Google Sheets, honestly. There are paid tools, but you don't need them. Sorry, the mowers are here. It's probably blasting in your ear right now, so apologies. Set aside taxes throughout the year. I can't stress this enough, guys. The last thing you want is to be getting hit with some massive tax bill. What I like to do is, again, we have our normal business expenses. We have a salary draw, right? And then I'm storing the rest. I'm just taking out that salary draw. And if I want to, taking out some extra distributions. Again, your account's going to be able to figure out what works best for you. You'll be able to pay taxes on a quarterly, estimated taxes on a quarterly basis as well. Totally recommend that, by the way. I know it's like, well, if it's estimated, I'll just pay it at the end of the year. No, bro. Bro, no. I one year, guys, had like almost a $400,000 tax bill for being dumb, right? For being dumb, right? And learn from my mistakes. But I can't stress it enough, guys. Obviously, if you're that's me doing business, not trading taxes. But and again, it was the next one. File quarterly. File those estimated tax quarterly. So, guys, take a look in the description of today's video. I'll leave you guys. The team over there at PCS will hook you up. I promise you. These people are amazing. They're not going to charge you an arm and a leg at this stuff. They're great people. I've been working with them for well over 5 years. Honestly, probably closer to a decade now. And they're great people, right? They'll help you if you want it. If they think you need an LLC, they'll let you know. If they think you don't need an LLC, they're going to say, no, you're not there yet, but they'll be able to help you with your taxes, all that good stuff. So that link will be down below in the description of today's video, guys. Remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.